Hey everyone, we're back for another week of exciting rehearsals. This week we have the DCI recap. We'll also find out what made Austin say.
Probably one of the most electric, that was probably one of the most electric minutes of my life, watching that closer at finals.
And why Trish said.
I was like, why aren't they blowing me away? Why aren't they blowing me away? Well, at the end of the season, they absolutely blew me away.
All this and more, so get out there on the field and we'll see you back on the sidelines for this week's episode of On a Water Break.
8 off the mat and go.
Welcome to On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk everything marching arts.
Everyone, bring it in. It's time for a water break.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Season 2 On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk about everything you and your friends are talking about at rehearsal on a water break. I'm Nicole Younger. DCI is over and many of us are still reeling from an incredible drum corps season. It was unbelievable. So we had to bring on a few friends, old and new, to dive deep into the 2024 season. So we're planning a recap with our hosts who were on tour to get some behind-the-scenes stories. But today, we're going to celebrate all the truly amazing performances we had this season. So let's see who's on the sidelines this week. Austin, in the throes of drill writing and just coming back from Hawaii and teaching band camp over there.
Yep, it has been a crazy couple of weeks, but I am very glad to be back home from everything. Since July 21st or 20th or something like that, I've been home for like 4 days.
Wow. And we finally got, we finally got to meet each other in person at
we
DCI.
Did. So exciting. Yeah. It was so exciting.
That was a fun time.
Yes. Yeah. Gotta love the parking lot hugs.
Oh, all the time. All the time. And let's see, Trish, have you started band camp yet?
I actually, life of a teacher, have my last day of my summer job tomorrow. And I start band on Thursday.
Ooh, is that the first day? Yeah.
Yes.
That's the first day of band camp? Wow.
The first day of pre-camp, and then real camp starts Monday.
Okay. And where did you watch finals? Were you there?
Was not there. I was actually in sunny Orange County, California for a wedding.
Okay.
Which is why I'm still a little tired, a little jet lagged here. I snuck on Flow. I had my iPad and I was sneaking on Flow as much as humanly possible. But of course, you're on California time. And while we were getting ready for the 5 o'clock their time wedding, as I was doing my makeup, the Madison Scouts were taking the field as the announcer told us, after a 7-year absence in finals, they were taking the field, and I was trying to catch all that and whatever. I did see a little bit of All-Age in the morning, but yeah, I was not in Indy. I was in Orange County and LA and all over the place. We crammed it all into 3 days, and we had an amazing time.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, you had a big weekend. Weekend. And Susie, back again. Every time you come on, I want to be here. So I saw you gushing all over your Avon kids. How many did you have in all marching this season?
We had 14 kids marching in corps. I wish I would have counted the number of corps. Yeah, that's the most we've ever had. And what a joy to watch them. It kind of changes the game a little bit when you personally know people in so many different corps. It was just fun to just be there and watch and enjoy. So
absolutely. Yeah. Such a good season. Okay, and we have Scott Litzenberg. I said that right, Scott?
Litzenberg.
Litzenberg. Thank you. So I wanted to say stunning job with the Crossmen alumni. So it was so great to watch, and it was such a massive thing to watch. All right, Nick. Next up, you're going to give us your 32 count life story. Don't leave any good things out, okay? You're going to get 8 from the Met, and then you're in.
All right, first rep. Here we go. Hi, folks. My name is Nick Coppock. Hope you all are well. I just completed my 4th season with marching the Bushwhackers Drum and Bugle Corps, competing in DCI All-Age. Some more information to know about me. I march in the front ensemble, so if you have any ballot needs, I am your go-to guru. In addition, I spent several years, 2 exact, to be with George Mason University's indoor drumline, and I also spent 2 seasons with Westchester University's incomparable Golden Rams marching band. Very happy to be here on a water break.
You got it all in. Love that. Good job. Good job. Oh, awesome. All right.
Y'all got a bunch of Rams up on here too. There's a bunch of you.
We're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
I know you think I'm an Indiana girl, but I went to Westchester as well.
Love all that. Y'all, we're going to jump right into some news. Awesome. So Trish is going to give us the lowdown on what happened with SoundSport this weekend.
Well, what didn't happen was the bad weather. Apparently there were some concerns about that, but they really lucked out and they were able to have a really successful event. There were a ton of groups there. For those of you who are new to the whole SoundSport thing, it was developed in 2012. It provides an all-age, all-instrumental performance platform for organizations through the world. So, it's definitely something I want to check out if I get to Indy next year. There was some drumline battles. There was a bunch of things going on. There were several groups that received a gold rating. Some familiar names to us, like Blue Coats Rhythm and Blue, Minnesota Brass, who used to be a DCA drum corps, Northern Lights, Eclipse, Frank de Lapel Marching Band, Impact, Montgomery County United Band, the Golden Pride Marching Band, Sonos Brass Theater, Knights Legacy, and Conquest. All of those groups received gold ratings, and there were a bunch of silver ratings in there as well. So just seems like it turned out to be a really nice event for you to put on your calendar next year if you're planning to go to Indy, to check that out.
Yeah. Wow. I can't believe they got all of that in there. And
Right?
it's the same weekend.
I know, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. I'm going to have to put that on my calendar to go next year because I really want to see it.
Yes, I totally went for a couple hours on Saturday morning, and it was so fun. They had like a bunch of food trucks out there, and there were drumline battles scattered all in the middle of it.
Cool.
It was super, super fun, and all the groups were just out there having a great time, and they had some talent, man. They really did. I was like thoroughly impressed with what they were doing. It was super fun to watch. And it was just such a chillax environment too, which was fantastic.
Awesome. Well, Nick, you performed during the All-Age group, so we're going to let you go ahead and give us the recap on All-Age.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if you weren't at the SoundSport Festival, if you decided to go into Lucas Oil and watch the All-Age Championship, the first of its kind with DCI, we had some very interesting events go on with the scores this year. So, if you don't know, there are 3 divisions within DCI All-Age: A class, Open class, and World class. All depends on the amount of members you have. Smaller groups have, let's say, up to 50. Usually it's about to like 80 for Open, and then for World, it's the big boys. So in first place, you had the Reading Buccaneers and coming to first in World, similar to their All-Age streak coming back from DCA. You had the Hawthorne Caballeros in second, and my home corps, the Bushwhackers, coming to third. You had the Cincinnati Tradition winning Open class in their DCA All-Age debut. And you had the Governors winning A class. And they had such a great show. It was very flowery, kind of hippie-ish. I loved the vibe, and they very well deserved that title. And it was also very interesting, too, because you had some Open groups that scored higher than World groups. So very, very interesting stuff. Definitely would have not seen this on the old DCA sheets for sure.
Now, Nick, here's a fun fact. I'm also a Bushwhacker alum. I marched in 96 and 97. I was on the guard staff in 98 and 99. So I don't see a cat at all. There is no cat. That's an inside joke for all you Bushwick. It's an inside joke. And I was, like I said earlier, I didn't get to catch all the action because I was actually in California for a family wedding, but I was catching bits and pieces. And just scrolling through social media, there were a lot of people as the all-age competition was going on, posting on social media, it's so unfair to put them on so early, and why do they only get to do one show, and they're treated so unfairly and whatever. And many directors, I definitely read Al Katz from the Caballeros as one of them, commented back and said, you have it all wrong. Like, they're treating us wonderfully. Like, we got to do a sound check and we got to be included in everything. And it's not like that at all. I don't know what you're seeing, but that's not happening. Did you feel that same way, that you guys were treated, as part of the whole DCI experience, just like the world class and the open class? Did you guys feel like you were really included in it? And, was it a very positive experience for you guys?
Oh my gosh, yeah. 110%. It was definitely my most favorite season marching with Bush. DCI was open arms for every single thing that we had going on this year. They didn't really make us change our schedule. They were very accommodating to the traditional DCA shows. Like, we started off in Connecticut like normal. Buccaneers still had their home shows in Landisville and had one in Downingtown, which was actually sold out too. I think that's the first time that's ever happened. And, they were more than happy to give up valuable stadium time for all of us to do our sound check. I haven't really seen anything like that from DCA in the slightest. And
now, did the whole corps go? Did the whole corps go to the sound check?
Yes. So great question. So the entire drum corps was at the sound check. We treated it like a dry run of finals, essentially. So we went in there. We pushed in with the front ensemble. We did like a run of each movement very quickly to make sure that, one, the sound system was balanced appropriately front ensemble to the rest of the corps, but two, to give us an idea of the listening environment, since a lot of these groups have never performed in a dome stadium before, myself included in drum corps. So that was very helpful, especially for, folks who aren't as strong, trying to get comfortable with it. And at the end of running each movement, we did like a quick full run of the show. And it was tight. We only had about 30 seconds left after we did our full run, and it was just a quick run off. I saw our sound staff just running down from the stands like, we got to move now. And it was like craziness. If any of you have ever done like WGI, like maybe you have not a lot of time, that's exactly what it felt like. But we did it. The sound check went great and had an even better day the next day. So
we always love to hear those stories. Those are good. Those are great. Susie, hi. How are you?
Hello, I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm so delayed on the unmuting.
That's all right. I know you got some open class tea for us. So
I do. So the open class world championships were held in Marion, Indiana on Tuesday of DCI week. And they had a good lineup of corps from all over the country. And I'll just kind of focus on the top 5 here because there were 10 corps and finals. But the Clubbians came in 5th, followed by the battalion. They were both in the 78-79 range. And then in 3rd place was a corps called Gold. And I just want to see them because I love their name. That is just so great. Gold. They had a 79.8. And then the top 2 corps, one from the West Coast, one from the East Coast, battled it out in the 80s range. Blue Devils B came in 2nd with an 82.475. And then the Spartans from New Hampshire were in 1st place with an 82.963. And I believe that the Spartans were the only corps all week that got to perform 5 times.
All right, Austin, tell us about the world class and that recap.
Yes, of course. So I had the pleasure of getting a finals ticket, so I got to see all 12 of these fantabulous groups go. So we're starting off I'm going to go reverse order just like Susie did. So in 12th place, with the first time in 7 years they were back in finals. The Madison Scouts with an 87.050. In 11th place, the Cavaliers with an 87.5. Moving up to 10th place with my home team, the Troopers, 88.95. And going up to 9th place, a very slept-on show, the Colts, 89.775. They've been making some strides recently. Very, very proud of what they've been doing. In 8th place, Blue Stars, 91.6. That brass, holy crap, they were on another level. And then we're moving up Mandarins in 7th place with a 92.15. And welcome back Santa Clara Vanguard with a 93.925 in 6th place. Carolina Crown in 5th with a 95.025. Moving up to 4th place, probably one of the most electric, that was probably one of the most electric minutes of my life watching that closer at finals, Phantom Regiment. 95.225 in 4th place. Something we haven't seen in a while, the Blue Devils in 3rd place with a 97.075. That's just a testament to how great they are year in and year out. I think that was the first time since 04, 05, 06, something like that. I don't remember.
It hasn't been top 2.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Been a long time since that happened. And then Boston Crusaders, coming in 2nd place with a 97.413. And then your DCR World Champions, the Blue Coats. Goodness, they were incredible. 98.75. And that is their highest score in history.
Wow.
And it was well-deserved. And the Caption Awards, we got a couple of those that we got to go through. Best Color Guard, Boston Crusaders. They were stunning.
Ridiculous.
Stunning as always. They were, yeah. And Blue Coats won Best Visual. They won Best Brass and Best General Effect. So they got 3 of the 5 Caption Awards. And I think they got it right. And then Best Percussion, who other than the Santa Clara Vanguard?
You know, you really don't. I mean, and congratulations to Santa Clara Vanguard.
Yes.
I think that was well deserved as well. But I mean, honestly, with the last 2 years, though, I feel like there is like a little bit of a shift that's happening because, like, a lot of the last year, the percussion Cavaliers won percussion, hands down. Too.
Oh yeah.
All right. Because that was ridiculous. But and also with this, with this year, it's just like, okay, you could win percussion, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're in the top echelon or, where you are. Everything is very much so just derived out of what was great. Just like I said, ridiculously stunning, whatever, Boston. I mean, I don't know. I was just taken back by that. All right, I think we have one more thing for news here. That's Trish.
Yeah, so I don't know if any of you guys saw this, but I was scrolling through social media today, I'd say around mid-afternoon, and apparently Lindsay Schuler was let go from the Troopers. I believe several other people were as well. I think there's more posts or announcements coming again. Scott mentioned this off camera, and it's a good point. The Corps aren't really allowed to publicly announce anything until Labor Day, who they've released and who they're bringing in. But people are, letting stuff leak out on social media. So it's got to be so tough. It's just got to be so tough to come off that emotional high from the weekend and just have that happen just a few short days later. I mean, I don't really know, what's, I've obviously, I'm not the Troopers, so I don't really know what happened or what led to it or whatever. But I mean, I think that the one thing we can do without being on the inside is just certainly recognize all of the things that Lindsay contributed to that Corps, not only to the Troopers, but as a female show designer as well. There aren't very many of us out there. And, I think, before we go into what the future is for the troopers, as well as what the future is for Lindsay. She also designs for battalion and Fusion Corps in All-Age. But I think that we just have to kind of give her a big raise the roof for all the things that she's contributed. So I mean, it was really shocking to see that. Again, there's more stuff coming down the pike with other people, staff's changes and, whatever. But I can't even imagine after that high of Saturday and then by Tuesday, it's all over. Like, I can't even imagine. So big shout out to Lindsay. I hope she's doing okay. And thank you for all you've done.
Absolutely.
And I actually have you just mentioned Fusion Corps there. I actually have some breaking news that actually just came across my desk as we were talking here. It looks like Fusion Corps is going to be moving their operations down to Florida. Wow.
Wait,
where are they out of right now?
It's actually happening.
New Jersey.
They're based out of northern New Jersey. I do know that their director, Holly, I've heard she has some connections down there. So
whoa.
definitely think this has been thought through. But wow, did not expect a group to pop up in the South, I guess, for All-Age so quickly. Yeah, wow.
So
honestly, they saw where it was needed.
And what?
Yeah, exactly. I agree. The South needs more All-Age, so
that's
wow.
This
is
that's
crazy.
That's hilarious. I actually had a So, funny story. I don't know how it happened, but I ran into Holly and Ralph at one point. 3 or 4, I want to say 3 years ago now, at Epcot. And they were like, oh, we want to try to set up like a Fusion Corps South type thing. We love it down here. We love doing Fusion Corps. And I'd lost contact with them. It was a random night at Epcot. Don't know how it happened, but we had a random conversation and we were talking. And I was just like, oh, yeah, just kind of throwing around the idea. And I'm like, I think it could work here. And lo and behold, 3 years later, it actually happened. Holy cow. I was not anticipating that to happen. That's actually kind of hilarious.
Very quickly, too. I mean,
within 3 years. Yeah, that's pretty quick.
Within 3 years and just a few days after the first, DCI All-Age finals. I guess that's a testament to show how much faith, I guess, the directors of, the All-Age circuit have in this new model. It's only been a year, and technically it's a 2-year trial, and to jump into that already that's huge. Wow.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a drum corps picking up and changing states. Who would do that?
You have a lot to do with recruitment.
Right.
You're leaving a big group of folks behind. I know a few years back when the Bushwhackers tried to move to Delaware, that was a whole fiasco. They were going to combine with an indoor drum line. It never quite ended up happening. But, just moving from New Jersey to Delaware threw off a lot of people. So I can only imagine how the alumni must feel right now seeing their home, their family just decide to move everything down further south. Definitely this isn't unfounded. It can't be, it can't be without good reason. But wow, that's very, very interesting. And I guess there's a lot of faith in this new all-age model, which is very exciting.
Yeah, I'm being a little facetious when I said what I said, because we went through that 16 years ago, and that corps is still here. So we're pretty happy with that.
Maybe your corps was the prototype. He's like, yes, it was.
Yeah, the Crossmen, wow. Seeing their show and the Alumni Corps this year was fantastic. I was just blown away.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, well, it is time for us to work on the opener. Since, again, we've learned those sets just a few days ago, and we'll be right back as we dive deeper into DCI 2024.
Hey, Hey, this is Christine Ream.
And Chris Green.
Guard Closet was founded as a consignment business in 2000. Since then, it has grown to include winter guard, band, percussion, and other genres.
We can help you with custom flag and costuming designs.
Our consignment inventory has plenty of great looks for your color guard, drumline, and marching band.
Pay it forward. When you purchase consignment, you help other programs. Last year, we sold over 400 sets of consignments and returned over $125,000 in payments to our consigners for their sales.
Additionally, Guard Closet offers custom and pre-designed costumes, flags, floors, and formal wear, full or partial show writing, educational programming, and other services.
Max out your rehearsal time and set up a microsite for easy student ordering for shoes, gloves, and other equipment.
The Guard Closet team is here to help you get everything you want and need for your season. Check us out at guardcloset.com and follow us on social media.
And we're back. Okay, let's start with some more amazing news from DCI 2024, and that was Crossmen Alumni Performance. So just to let everyone know, like, that alumni performance that was done by the Crossmen was amazing, legendary even, and not even that, but like, it was just so massive. When it's that big, you just gotta you gotta just be blown away with it. It's almost overwhelming. And we have Scott Litzenberg here to just tell us a little bit more about it and just tell us what you did with the show, Scott.
Well, it's a very interesting situation with what we just talked about, somebody changing states. We had 34 years of this drum corps from Pennsylvania region, Philadelphia area, and the last 16 from Texas. So we couldn't put this together the way other alumni corps have and just say, like Bluecoats, come into Canton for 4 days, we're going to rehearse, come back a week before finals, we're going to rehearse again. We had to think a little differently. And thankfully, with the UDB drill app, it really made it very doable for what we were trying to do. Right. Every member basically had 7 days of rehearsal to put that show on the field. A third of the group did Texas for 3 days with the San Antonio weekend. We had about 110 people there. 2 weeks later, we did the weekend over Allentown for 3 days with about 2/3 of the group. About 15 people actually went to both camps. They just decided they needed to do that. So we learned parts 1, 2, and 3 with 260 holes on the field in San Antonio.
What?
58 brass, 30 some in the guard. We go to Allentown, and we had 100 holes on the field. And the first time we put the corps together was Tuesday morning of finals week.
Stress.
We did not learn Russian in North Penn in Pennsylvania. We learned Russian drills Sunday morning for the first time. The San Antonio people never got to that. So they learned Russian on Tuesday morning, and we put it together, and that was the first time. And a week ago, Russian wasn't even a thing. We hadn't done it yet. So to see that group come together, we had just under 250 members, or 350 members. I just forgot 2 busloads of people.
Scott, it's so funny because I'm longtime friends with Karen Wire. I marched with her back in the day, and I actually met Zanita last year when I was hanging out with Karen at the Crossmen Alumni tent. And I remember the two of them sitting in the, at the Crossmen Alumni tent. I actually just went over to say hello to them, and they were talking about, this upcoming year. And I remember Janita saying, Karen, how are we going to serve all of those people a hot catered meal? And Karen goes, we'll do it. We'll do it. And then there was a picture of them on Facebook hugging, I believe with Mary as well, hugging. I don't know if it was after the performance or at some point during the weekend. They were all dressed up. And I looked at that picture and went, you did it. You did it.
We had a great group of volunteers. We had about 20 volunteers in Indy. We rented tents for the rehearsal field. We had 2 20 by 60 tents, 100 chairs, 20 tables set up. Members brought tents and chairs. We looked like a youth soccer tournament rehearsal field. It was pretty cool. And we had this great park in Indy that was a football park with no stadium, but it had a press box that we could get on top of to rehearse the corps, grass field, and it could not have been more perfect for us. But it was pretty intense trying to find to fit uniforms. The Texas people, I drove a box truck all the way to Texas with some horns and stuff in it. All of their uniforms, got them all fitted down in San Antonio. Did 260 uniforms the weekend at North Penn. We had to trim every cape with a hot knife that also seared the edge when we cut it to be 8 inches off the ground for each performer. So we had a crew of 4 people that all they did was put those capes on a big table and
hot knife them.
Had to be cut in a circle because they were full circle cape. So it was crazy. I mean, looking back on this, we knew we could probably pull this off.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never going to do something like it was insanity.
But the Crossmen brought so much joy to people. Like as soon as you came out, yeah.
Well, we had Nicole. We had a really specific goal when we started designing this 2 years ago. We didn't want to look like every other alumni corps. We wanted to be different. We wanted to be us, and from the uniform to how we put the show together to how we wanted to program it as a real show, not just let's play a tune, go to another tune. We wanted to have moments. We wanted to have the music that made sense to be together and create a lot of good effects. And by the way, our whole design team for the entire production, they were fired on Saturday morning. So we got rid of everybody. Well, we don't have a...
I had to just...
Well, that I didn't read on social media.
Yeah, they're well, you can't fire volunteers. Everybody was a volunteer. The staff was volunteers, all of us.
Right.
But it was just, and I don't mean that any disrespectful to anybody, but
of course,
even they're like, yeah, we're not doing this again. But then we got to go in the stadium on Wednesday from noon to 7 and we did basically an hour to an hour and a half of each song, reviewed drill, put things together, had a chance to do some music balance. We walked out of that stadium on Wednesday going, we just have to get cleaner tomorrow. We know this works. Practice the ballad with the video, with the TV production team.
Oh, that was incredible.
On the screen.
That was incredible.
That's one of those things. Okay, a few years ago, when DCI came back on that COVID year, I think the cadets did something along with their show with the video board. Well, Jeff Satrick was one of our drill writers. He's a Crossmen alumni. Before he marched in cadets, he was a 14-year-old handing out rifles on the sideline with his brother marching.
True story.
So Jeff was our drill writer for half the show. And he's like, we wanted to do something to memorialize alumni and show the Corps throughout the years. And we said, why not do it during the ballad? And we ended it with a picture of Robbie and Charlotte, the founding director and his wife, and figured Robbie's favorite thing ever was Russian Christmas music. So we end with that and hold that until Russian Christmas music started. It would be a perfect segue into Russian.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And it was an extremely emotional week for everybody. Even how we came on the field, just like holding the horn line out until it was time to that first bell hit, which was the theme of our show. And they came out, and I think people realized like this is a little different. It's taking some chances musically and visually, and we didn't do it. We did about 30 drill sets, but we didn't want to do just block forms. We wanted to do stuff that was a little more interesting, like the ballad set. When we hit the big hit in the ballad, it's a beautiful drill set, and it's hard not to be affected with 108 flags on swing flag doing something all together, and just it was crazy. So it was a lot. We had somebody. Front ensemble, it was amazing that we had somebody that was working with him, Bob Morrison. When he wrote for DCI and multiple championships, he didn't have to deal with electronics. So it was a real learning curve for him. It's hard for people to understand that nowadays, but we had to find a team to do that. And I also have to say this never would have happened. And it's all about Rams Up. It's never would have happened without Westchester University.
Wow.
We got the tractor trailer. We got all of the tubas, the entire front ensemble, all the flagpoles we needed, the battery, the ability to transport everything else that we had to transport on that tractor trailer. Hey, Adam Gumbel, I need a Megavox. Can I take one? Yeah, here. What else do you need? I need this. Here, take that. And it was unbelievable. I sent him a picture from the parking lot on Friday with the Westchester University tractor trailer and Lucas Oil Stadium in the background.
Nice.
If we didn't have that support from them, I literally don't know how we could have done this.
Wow.
I mean, I had a truck that we rented a month ago. I just took it back yesterday. I put 5,600 miles on that truck in 4 weeks. San Antonio went back, parked it near my house for a week. Westchester to load things up, get all their audio equipment. Sat here for a few days. North Penn, Indy, back to Westchester to drop everything off, and then dropped it off yesterday down in Salisbury, Maryland. So it's crazy the stuff that we did just to get that core on the field.
Y'all were working.
Remember? And we weren't pushing them. We didn't yell at rehearsal. We didn't say anything about level of performance. We just wanted to put a show on the field.
Yeah.
They stepped up and said, we're not. We're going to do this. We're going to fix that. Sabres, when we get back to the hotel, we've got a rehearsal in the ballroom. Things like that.
Yeah.
Putting all drum heads on 25 snares and 15 bass drums and having to get them all changed. It sounds simple. It's insanity. When you're dealing with 350, and Susie, you deal with the large marching band, you get what that means. But these people haven't marched in 30, 40 years, 50 for a couple of them, literally 50. We had 51 years worth of alumni out of 50 years, which doesn't make any sense. One of the bass drummers marched in the 507 Hornets. He never marched in Crossmen, but they were the feeder corps. His son marched in the early 2000s on bass drum.
Wow.
They got to perform in the field together on Friday night. So we had 51 years out of 50 represented.
That's amazing. I do remember being in the parking lot, and because I went with my roommate, they marched, and they knew people who had marched in the alumni corps, and I didn't know it until actually I got into the parking lot. I'm like, oh, I know this person, and we're around the same age, and they're like, I don't know if I can do this again, but I'm glad I did it now because we're all not fresh off tour anymore, but the way that everyone's face looked as they came off was like they were, you know what I mean? It was that finals performance, and it's just like, I'm so happy that you had that experience, and I was just loving to watch everyone hug and talk about how good they were and how good they did.
And one of the things we also wanted to do was have the world class corps perform our encore with us when we did Birdland together.
Oh,
I thought it was important to have their drum major conduct that, kind of like you're passing the baton.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a tough end of the season, and so many of those kids getting to play with us made them realize it's more than about what place you come in. That it really is about the family and the legacy. And okay, you can go somewhere else. We get it. That's what people do. You chase that ring, whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
You can also realize that the grass isn't always greener, but you can make your grass greener, which is something I hyped back in the 80s when I was the corps director, when the corps was in 21st place. I know what it's like to deal with a drum corps that's trying to build when nobody wants to be that low. I get it.
Yeah.
And it was pretty overwhelming to see those kids come in to watch us warm up in the convention center. And by the time we were done warm-ups, the difference in their demeanor and their faces and they helped us with everything getting on and off the field. It was just unbelievable. It was very emotional for everybody. I mean, our alumni were giving them their Aussies to wear when we were playing Birdland. And I think about 40 Crossmen went home with Aussies, and a couple of them got capes from the alumni. When they got off the field, they gave them their Aussie and their capes.
I love
that's
that.
Pretty powerful, pretty powerful. I have to say, probably my favorite moment was when we came out off the field. We went up in the parking lot. We had both corps together. So I got up on a ladder and said, Crossmen, pull it in. We had to go over, typical, where's the bus? What are we doing? How are we loading? The mayhem in the parking lot. Because our people, we have one show. That's it. We don't know how to pack a truck after a performance. So I said, Crossmen, pull it in. And somebody said, which one? I said, both of them. We're all the Crossmen right now. So I had I had the honor to stand there. I had the honor to stand there and talk to over 500 Crossmen in the parking lot. We were done, and it was. I mean, I cried every day, multiple times every day this whole week. I'm having a tough time talking right now. It was emotionally overwhelming, and the reaction of the drum corps community has been, I don't know, more than we ever thought it would be. Some people heard people in the audience when we were coming out going, "Oh, this is the Crossman." Oh, man, I wish they just announced the last few scores. We have
I
not
wanted to.
ovations.
I mean, honestly, as soon as I heard that this is what Crossman was doing, was bringing a big alumni corps out, first of all, I got excited because, I mean, I think we all fangirl out over some drum corps. And before I knew who Crossman was, I knew who Bones was. And I was just like, why is that scary guy there? And, somebody told me a little bit more about them. And then I kept seeing like Crossman perform. And then just seeing, because one of my mentors actually was on the Crossman gun line, and she just talked about it so much, and she was so good, and I was just like, oh, you're going to be good if you come out of the Crossman in the 80s spinning gun. And just from that, you know what I mean? It builds up on that. And so, and not to mention, like, the people who came back, yes, they went to other drum corps, but it was that legacy that was actually put in there, by everyone who taught, by you, by other instructors. They remember where they came from.
Quite a few of our people that marched aged out somewhere else. So part of my competition with the Corps on Wednesday night, they got their Crossman C that the world-class kids get. We also gave them a medallion for the 50th anniversary. And I asked all the people who never got to age out to step forward. They got to age out.
Beautiful, Scott. It's beautiful.
So,
I wanted to jump in, Scott, as someone who got to participate. I did the Star of Indiana Alumni Corps in 2010.
Oh my God.
And I was a member, and I got to show up, and we had choreography, and we had, all these ideas, and you just take for granted what the admin went through. So, like, to get us there, to get the props there, to get all of these things to happen. So I'm sure the Crossmen alumni appreciate you and the admin team who drove trucks and did all that stuff to make it happen. So thank you for helping make that happen.
Thank you, Susie. Thank you. And Danita Stemmet, Rick Reed, and I were the co-coordinators, because when they first talked to me about it a couple of years ago, I'm like, this can't be one person. We need to all divide and conquer. I did the drum corps side of it as far as logistics and programming with the staff, and started with the uniform stuff. Danita did all of the administrative tasks like registration, payments, getting the SoundSport certificates. If we hear that, just like the chorus, it became like kind of like an adjective and a verb and everything. But the driver's license and SoundSport, all the payments done, all the bills paid, it's a lot. It's a lot. And then Rick helped with a lot of the social media and a lot of the things we had to do as far as keeping track of some of the stuff that we had to do from a membership standpoint, and was a huge person with the logistics as well. So, I know that in some ways, for some people, I was the face of this. It was by no means a one-person job. Karen Wire, as our medical lead, having to deal with us up to age 71, trying to out there, people with knees, swelling up and ankles and this. She was amazing with them, and she didn't baby anybody, but we took care of everybody the way we had to. Mary Litzenberg was in charge of all the volunteers, did most of the meal timing, planning, and so forth. And, it just all fell into place. It was a great team. And we also had a heck of a lot of fun. I mean, once in a while we forget that part of it. Our number one goal was about the experience and not about, we're not competing. We weren't going to come in second place on Friday night. That was an issue. So if we were the associate champions for the alumni corps this year, like they were in 1979 from not making finals.
Right.
That would have been a little embarrassing. But
well, you guys had me at Appalachian Morning. I love that 1992 show. It's one of my favorites. So you had me at that. So I loved it.
Yeah, it was a gas.
Well, Scott, we loved having you here and loved having you talk about the Crossmen. Again, it was a special, special thing, and you gave us so much to go off of. We really, really, really enjoyed it. We're going to be doing a recap with some Crossmen alumni members, and that's coming out soon. So hopefully, maybe we can
That's
get you
awesome.
back for that.
That's awesome. Yeah, let me know. I love listening to them talk. It's
Awesome.
fun.
Oh, all right. Well, we're going to go ahead and go to a commercial, and then we'll be right back.
Hey everyone, it's Jeremy, and here are your announcements coming from the box. Don't miss all of our bonus content, including On a Water Break in Rhinestones with your host Lexi Duda, exploring the world of the twirlers. Don't miss Parades and Drum Majors at Step Off with your host Jack Goudreau, and get lost in translation with your host Cynthia Bernard, exploring all the words that confuse all of us in the marching arts all across the world. And go Behind the Lens with marching arts photographers all across the country with your host, Chris Marr. Plenty more bonus content from On a Water Break, so listen anywhere you get your podcasts. If you want to be on a Water Break as a guest, or you know somebody that would make a great guest for On a Water Break, email us at onawaterbreakpodcast@gmail.com or find us on social media. Okay, field staff, take it away.
Let's reset.
All right, so now we're getting into what I would like to call the meat and potatoes. We're going to start talking about the season and championships as a whole. Maybe each of you give us something that stood out to you. We'll go around and talk about it. I'll go ahead and kick things off, and maybe we'll just talk about groups as they come in or as people bring them up. But I do want to talk about not a group, but actually the voice of DCI. The announcer, Brant Crocker, was presented with, I think it's like a Lifetime Achievement Award. I mean, somebody please, Legacy Award. And I've called Brant Tony the Tiger for years, just because, when he gets excited, that it's like, gets in there and I just love it. And even when I was performing, when I heard that voice, I'm just like, I'm cool. Like, is this finals? This is great. Let's party, because I just heard my name, so I'm good. But it was great to see him there, how he's been there for so many years, and he's just got a voice that stands out. And honestly, it was a well-deserved legacy award that was given to him. Just to go into other things too, I guess you could, let's go with someone else. Sorry, I have too many. I have notes. So Susie, let's go with you first.
All right. Well, as I mentioned at the beginning of this podcast, we had quite a few Avon students marching this year, and I have been going to DCI for decades. And most recently, with my husband being with Carolina Crown, of course, the competitive side of things tend to make me a little more bitter, where I want Crown to do well and I want him to win his Jimats, and I sometimes get lost in that. And this year, because Crown had just, I don't want to say mediocre. They were freaking amazing, but it wasn't like they were gunning for the championship. You know what I mean? So I was able to kind of chill out and relax a little bit. And I watched top to bottom at prelims, the top 12. And I never do that. I always just show up to support my husband, watch the top corps, and be like, yay, look at me, I'm a DCI fan. Well, I feel like I truly became a DCI fan this year, because I was watching kids that I know in so many different groups, in the Blue Devils, in the Colts, in Phantom Regiment. And like, I was teary the whole time. I'm not an emotional person. I'm not a crier. I couldn't stop, like, just looking at what these kids are achieving and what they're doing. And then the excellence in every corps. Like, I could never be a judge. the Madison Scouts. Oh my God, they were so good. Like just all of the Colts. What? They were so good. The Troopers. I was like the band body they did and the theming and how these kids perform top to bottom. Every corps.
It was so good this year. Like it's so good every year, but this year was like, what?
So good. And I sat in row 3. I love being close. I love feeling the performance and the kids' energy. And just
me too. I'm a multicam girl.
yes.
I'm not a high cam girl.
So I feel like after all these years and of course I will always root for Crown. I want them to win everything all the time. It's just in my
Susie,
blood.
they're my personal favorite. Just an FYI.
Yeah.
If you listen to any of the podcasts, they're my personal favorite every year.
I just love their crispy clean like aesthetic. It was so beautiful this year, but
the guard was really amazing this year too.
I agree.
They were.
But I just felt like I could enjoy what the kids on the field were doing and appreciate how freaking hard it is and how they just look so professional and so polished and so, I just loved every moment of it. And I could only go to prelims this year because I was in a musical and our closing weekend was the same weekend as DCI. I don't know why I did that, but it was fun. But I don't know. I just fell in love with it all over again. And I love the direction that it's going. I love the theatricality. I just love it all. So it was an awesome weekend for me.
Awesome. So talking about Crown did Promethean.
Mhm.
And I like to, because I look at it and it gives me Inferno vibes.
The logo, I was like, I feel like we saw this a couple of years ago.
I'm like, okay, but if it ain't broke, don't fix. And I really like, they literally were on fire. Such a good final show. I found out also too that there is a young lady in the guard. Her name's Ava. I actually taught her when she was in 8th grade. I gave her first gun to take home.
Look at you.
And it's amazing too. I was like, I think I'm going to see, let me just go up to her and see if she remembers me. And she was like, oh, I'm having a full circle moment. And I was just like, yeah, okay. But it was great to see her do that and do her thing and like see everyone like hungry. That's all you can think. That's all I can think to say is like every performer, no matter where they were, hungry. They were left no crumbs. They ate. They left no crumbs. Let's see, Trish. Did you have any standouts from the weekend or any big moments?
Well, aside from, my personal favorite, Carolina Crown, I unfortunately did not get to see them in Allentown. I couldn't go to Indy, but I did not get to see them in Allentown because Saturday night was rained out, unfortunately. So I was really bummed about that. But I'll kind of speak from my area of expertise, which is guard. I'm not even going to go there with any brass or percussion. It's totally not my wheelhouse. But I have to say, early on in the season, watching on Flow, Boston's color guard didn't grab me in the beginning like they usually do. I was like, why aren't they blowing me away? Why aren't they blowing me away? Well, at the end of the season, they absolutely blew me away. That ensemble saber toss in the big hit in True Colors, right there, give them all the points. Just give them all. Give them all the points.
It was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous. So I completely saw what was going on there. I mean, it was amazing. I thought their guard was incredible. Blue Coats, you definitely saw, the tie-in between, the Fusion staff and a bunch of the Fusion kids out there. You kind of had that vibe and that feel to it. They were really impressive as well. You can never count the Blue Devils guard out ever. I see a really big difference in their guard the last couple of years with the addition of Jose Pena on their staff. I think he's really taken them up another notch. I'm sure we're all going to talk about this, but Phantom Regiment's ending. Come on. Come on now. Amazing. Amazing.
I sat there and listened, and just watched that. First of all, big shout out to Courtney, who's the Phantom Regiment drum major. She does it. She does such a good job. And just to see, to see a drum major do their thing to be for real honest, is just great, and have the composure that she had. Because if I were hearing all of that come at me, I would just be bawling.
Right.
But she's like, I don't have time for that. My makeup's great. But yes, I had a great time watching Phantom. I did want to just piggyback off of you when we were talking about Boston. Just want to do a quick shout out to my girl Heather Graham. She is on staff there. And also, it's really funny, Logan Cleat, who I think he has one more year of drum corps, but basically he was the period at the end of all of those like moments, and it was there each time. Again, I'm aging myself. I taught Logan's older sister. He would always come to rehearsal. He had one of those like mini flags, and spin those around. That's where they start, and he's grown up to do this thing here. And also with the Phantom show, did y'all see those parents that were glitching out in the
Oh my god, the
stands?
Boston parents, they were so funny.
Yeah. It was like, Missy Elliott when she did that, is it worth it? Let me work it. You know that song? She had that big trash bag. Yeah. So now they had those big trash bags on, but like glitching out. I'm like, oh, this is, I don't know
One
if
was
this is
green, one was pink, one was
so
it matched
funny.
the colors of the show.
Yeah.
They kind of look like the Fruit of the Loom guys.
Yes.
It was so funny.
Yes.
Well, I was
Oh,
actually there
Good
at
stuff.
semifinals because after we'd performed, Bush had a free block, and a lot of us went into the stadium to just chill. And all of a sudden, I just looked off to my right because they have all the performers off to the corner. They have their own designated areas. I just turned my head. I'm like, why are there 3 big Teletubbies going on there?
Somebody said that too. I heard someone say that too. I'm like, I don't think that they are. And I just looked really hard for a moment.
I just thought it was a fluke. And then I was there the next day, finals night. And this time I turned my head, and then they were in the next section over. I'm like, okay, I guess they just do this. It was awesome. It was so funny.
They were a hoot. They were so funny. I just remember my entire section. We were like already blown away after seeing Phantom. We're like, oh my god, what just happened? And then we look over, and there's these 3 guys in these big inflatable suits, and we're like, what is happening right now? And then you could just tell they were just like the biggest cheerleaders ever, and they just looked like they were having the time of their lives. It was just so fun to watch. And honestly, I think drum corps needs a little bit more of that. Just kind of that relaxed, chillax, like fanboy kind of vibe in a way.
I think that those, if I'm wrong, I know they're parents, but I think that they were on the food truck.
Oh, were they?
Yeah, and this is what they did.
That's
And I'm just
so
like,
funny.
y'all are fun parents. I like that. Austin, since we're talking here, what's one of the things that you want to bring up? Like, what was a highlight for you?
Honestly, well, I am biased here. My biased answer is the Troopers because I am a trooper, but they were phenomenal. Oh my goodness, that was probably the best. That was probably the best drum corps. One of the best drum corps that the Troopers have ever put out, if not the best drum corps the Troopers have ever put out. And I am a very, very happy alumni watching all that go down. That was super, super awesome to see. But honestly, one of my favorite shows of the season was Madison Scouts.
Okay.
They were awesome. They were awesome. Like from where they were in seasons past to where they were this year, it was just a totally different ball game. And they were just awesome. I loved everything that they did. It wasn't necessarily the most complex show you could ever put together, but they executed it so well. And on top of that, the kids were out there just having a ton of fun, and you could tell that they trusted their staff, they trusted their show. It was super, super. It was like relieving is a word. Refreshing is the word I'm looking for.
Yes.
It was super refreshing to see. They were just, and like I went to their finals lot. they were just all happy. They were just all like super happy the entire time, and they were just like whenever their horns weren't on their face, they were just like the kids were just smiling. They were just happy to be there.
Exactly.
And honestly, yeah, they deserved it.
Yeah.
They deserved every bit of that, and I was such a fan of what they were doing. And Unholy by Sam Smith on a drum corps field. Oh my god.
That's exactly what I was going to talk about. I was like, that at 8 down.
They smack you in the face with it, and it's just like, oh, this is great.
I was like, I don't want to hear another person say anything bad about this anymore because this is fantastic.
No, that was fun. I've seen a little bit of hate about it. I'm like, for what reason? There's no reason for this. They played it so well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will say this. I might be biased because I just came off of, playing this in indoor. But House of the Rising Sun, I was just blown away by that arrangement too. Wow. It was fantastic. And honestly, coming from myself, getting an arrangement from, some East Coast people playing it at indoor, then hearing a Sandy Rennick arrangement, it's very funny to hear the East Coast and the West Coast versions of that too. So that was pretty cool.
That was fun. I really enjoyed that. A little fun tidbit about that Trooper show, when that kind of like lightsaber light stick thing switches to blue, when they kill the devil, there's a fun little conclusion that we came to. It turns into a long blue line. The Troopers alumni call themselves the Long Blue Line.
No way.
The long blue line ends up killing the devil.
That had to be intentional.
Yeah.
That had to be intentional.
Yeah. It was fun. It was a fun little tidbit to catch.
Nick, did you have any more highlights that stuck out for you?
Yeah. I'm a percussionist, so I feel like talking about the Sanford race was inevitable. So here we are. Wow. And I can kind of relate to this too, but to be leading in a caption all season, then all of a sudden you just get down to the line and then it just slips from you. My heart goes out to the folks at Boston. Congratulations to the folks in Santa Clara Vanguard. You guys blew me away. You blew everyone else away. Obviously I'm a front ensemble guy. I love what they do every year. But man, what an absolute heartbreak for, a lot of them. A lot of the folks in that front ensemble and percussion ensemble are personal friends of mine, and man, it's heartbreaking, There was some controversy that some folks like to claim that had some bias towards it. I don't know who the semifinals night percussion judge was. However, I do know that was the night where SCV had won the most. And some folks had claimed that the judge, who had studied under Paul Rennick at University of North Texas, had some bias towards it. Now, DCI, of course, as you know, has these like strong training procedures to try to eliminate bias, but some folks said, well, there still was some of that there. And wow, it's a hard job to do, to be a judge in this activity.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow,
Yeah.
it's so difficult. It's hard to judge content. SCV personally blew me away as well. I was at the DCI show in Delaware this year, and they were the cleanest and they had the best front ensemble by far at that show. So, very heartbreaking. Obviously, classic case of judging, maybe you didn't quite get the panel you had wanted, but I will say this, they played their hearts out. And, I was in both of the Boston's front lot and SCV's front lot, and man, God bless me, I wasn't assigned between those two.
Right.
Overall, a great year for the percussion caption. Blue Coats were playing some great content. They were playing very clean. They really cleaned up, and man, just again, I wouldn't want to be that judge.
I will tell you that I watched prelims on Flow Marching, and they had this moment where they were watching. I didn't know who the drum line was, but then you could see the star on the side. That group can do a lot. Like in the lot, they do a very, very good job.
Oh, it's
Very
insane.
good.
Yeah, probably SCV. Just insanity.
Yeah. So Scott, I just want to know. I mean, I know you were completely busy this weekend, but were you able to catch some
I did
shows?
not. Obviously, Thursday, Friday, we were doing our thing. Saturday, we had our banquet at 11 a.m. and then finished loading up and getting stuff on the right trucks and things being picked up by other people that we borrowed stuff in. And I got done about 4:00, and we sent anybody that wanted to go. We had buses take everybody downtown. I literally just wanted to sit down, have a quiet dinner, have a drink or two because I had to
Yeah.
drive the truck home the next day, and I just wanted to make
Mhm.
sure that I just catch my breath. And a few other people did the same thing. But I have to say, what stuck out to me the most the whole week, Friday night after we performed, we're leaving the field, and alumni and current members are doing the unity with the hand holding going off the field, all doing it together. Going past the age outs as we were leaving the field was just unbelievable energy from them. I'm sure they're sitting there when we first started with their arms crossed and like, oh, we just want to get our age out pins. To have that reaction for both the corps, the alumni and the world class corps, was pretty magical, and it wasn't just contrived. I think they really enjoyed it, and to get that kind of response from people who perform at the level that they perform at, which is insane levels of amazing performers, really meant a lot to everybody. And that's when you did the right thing, and our members really felt that, and that was a great exclamation point to walking off that field this week.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, again, Crossman was magical. Absolutely magical. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go into our next segment. It's called What Are We Doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
So for this next segment, What Are We Doing is something like what grinds my gears? What are we doing? So we're gonna kick it off with the Queen. Go on, Trish.
Well, I remember I was hoping that since I was away over the weekend and came back last night, I was kind of hoping that Flow Marching would have a nice little replay of World Championship finals for us. But alas, no. I know. I usually come home from Dayton and watch Dayton for like 2 or 3 nights straight because it's replaying every night.
Yeah.
This was not the case with DCI. So DCI, what are we doing not giving us a couple of nights of replays? What are we doing? Yeah.
It's either them or
probably.
Flow Marching. Who do we
Yeah.
go? Who do we go after? Okay, Susie, what are we doing?
Okay, I know I just got done saying how much I love DCI, but I feel like the shows are just too long. Maybe by like 2 minutes. Even the cores that are awesome, by like the 8-minute mark, I'm like, okay. I don't know. I posted that on Facebook amidst a list of other wonderful things I love about DCI. Snuck that in there, and I got a lot of people commenting that they agree, including Rosie Queen. So I feel like I'm onto something. So I don't know what that means. I just feel like they're a little too long. I feel like that about marching band shows as well. So just
may be
putting that
onto
out
something.
there.
Okay. All right. I like that.
You don't have to comment on it. That's just that's my what are we doing? Why are we making shows 10 minutes long? That's all.
Nick.
Well, I think the biggest thing for me is you have a great finals run. You absolutely enjoy the excellence that you and, your compadres have, done throughout the entire season. And all of a sudden, a few days later, you're back, maybe in a field in New Jersey, and you're back at high school band, and you're like, man, I wish this was drum corps again. By no fault of your own, But it's like, man, I wish you had that level of excellence. it's something that your ears like miss. It's something that, you wish you had. And, it's no jab at, the students. I mean, different activity, they're trying to build up, trying to develop themselves.
Yeah.
Man, you just really miss not only just the excellence, but, all the friends you've had, all the memories you made over the course of the summer,
So is it What Are We Doing Missing Drum Corps?
Yeah. I mean,
Already?
it's a
The day
shame
after?
you just miss it. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, how on earth do you just miss everything already? It's like,
Is
you
that
snap it and you're like, oh,
compounded by
man.
the fact that it's over so much earlier this year?
I feel like for me personally, yeah, it definitely feels weird to just jump straight back into it. Now, I will say, with the DCA season being longer, historically, the All-Age has gone on till Labor
Right.
Day. I mean, it has been kind of like you go back and forth, and it's like, oh, I'm relieved to be back at drum corps. But now the season's over, and you're like, oh, wow, I'm in high school band. And then you're like,
Right.
wow, I'm in high school band.
Okay, Scott, do you have a What Are We Doing?
I do. I was obviously waiting in the tunnel where the front ensembles come in for our turn and let our people know to start heading to the tunnels. And the Spartans were there, and they were waiting to go out for their exhibition, their championship exhibition. And as soon as they got ready to go out there, and the last corps had just finished, I guess it was the Blue Coats right before them. All I heard their kids saying was, "Don't leave, don't leave, don't leave, don't leave." They didn't want anybody to leave the audience because they wanted to perform for them. And I don't know how else.
Aw.
DCI has done a phenomenal job of let's hold those last couple scores. But people don't wait for scores. They even at regular
Not
shows,
anymore.
they'll get it on the off the website. And it wasn't heartbreaking, but it was like all that these kids have done all summer and what they've accomplished. And the last thing they're thinking is, please stay and watch us. We want you to see us.
Oh.
Because a lot of people don't even show up to the show until the world-class corps are, up close to the top 12 or 15 and above. And, they've never saw the Spartans. And I was like, I just wish people would understand how important that is to those kids. It was important to us, and we were going on half an hour after them. But we figured whoever stayed for Spartans wasn't going to leave after that. They were going to hopefully stay. But I just felt bad for the kids. And they go out there and do like you said earlier, beautiful presentation. Just a great, great production. So
Like,
yeah,
people that have stayed for
I
that.
don't have much because I didn't see much that last week other than practice field and, walking in the stadium Friday night. But that, that really struck a chord with me.
Yeah. Oh,
I know. I get it, Scott. And I actually have one more thing to relate to that. At the Downingtown show, the Sunday before finals, the Reading Buccaneers were doing their encore. And I saw a lot of the same thing. The Bucks were ready to go out. They were getting all set up. And a lot of folks were like, well, I actually want to avoid all the traffic and I want to start going home. And, these all-age groups, I mean, obviously similar case to the Open. Sometimes don't perform for all the big crowds at the end of the night. So I could even hear in the poor announcer's voice for the night, he was saying, hey, wait, the Bucks are doing their encore. And there's a part of me, even as a competitor, that I felt kind of bad for him. It's like, oh my gosh, everyone's just leaving. Like, so I've seen that firsthand.
Yeah, Nick, I could see it on a Sunday night with people have to go to work the next day and so forth. It's Friday night. You're already there and you're not going anywhere. So
exactly.
what's an extra 17 minutes for those kids? So that's it.
It may even change your life. And I guess it comes to me now with What Are We Doing? And honestly, I don't have anything really bad to say. Like, I'm so serious when I say this. So I guess mine would be, what are we doing? Mark in your calendars for the next on a water break when we talk about all the people that were on tour. I'll plug for my Gush and Go.
Everyone. Set equipment down. Gush and Go.
All right. So now we do our Gush and Goes. So this is something that, you want to just tell people about. It doesn't really have to be about drum corps or marching arts, but it helps so that we can engage our corps. So Jeremy, let me just go to Susie.
I'm ready.
What would you like to gush and go about?
Mine is about drum corps. My gush and it's getting late. My gush and go is about drum corps. I just wanted to make a comment about the props. And this also bleeds into like the BOA band world too, that the props are just off the chains ridiculous. And kind of going to what Jeremy was saying about technology, like we have all these incredible props, how much money they cost, like these high school bands then have these poor band dads that have to try to build these props that resemble drum corps level things. But I did love the props this year at DCI and how well they were used and incorporated and moved around the field. And they were just effortlessly a piece of the production. And I absolutely loved it. So kudos to the prop people out there.
We don't all have a Jeff Herr. If Jeff clones himself, maybe that would be good, but we don't all have a Jeff Herr out there. Awesome. Okay.
Didn't we just have an episode with Jeff with Whitney Stone hosting?
We did. Mm-hmm.
So people got to check that out.
Yeah.
Check that out. Nick, what do you like to gush and go about? Tell me something good.
So my gush and go for today, I know Jeremy was just talking with us about sound systems. When you make your sound system and you're miking up your ensemble, please make sure that your soloist mics work. Please. The amount of times that I encountered an issue this summer, just seeing stuff pop in and out till you got it right, or even other issues, like, for example, not being able to hear some groups like tire marimba lines. I mean, they'd have 4 or 5. Please make sure if you do have a sound system, you have it working. I'm out. Thank you.
Awesome. Scott, what would you like to gush and go about? I know you have lots to gush about.
I just like to gush about 375 people that trusted us, trying to say 2.5 years ago, we're going to do this thing. And they trusted us to take care of them. And I think we all had a hell of a week last week. And a 7-day tour is doable.
It's hard, but it's doable.
It's doable.
All right, Trish, what do you got?
I just want to gush and go and give more props than I already have to the whole DCI All-Age situation. I remember this time last year, us kind of sitting here going, how's this going to work? Is this going to work? Is this going to happen? It happened. It was an incredible year. And Nick, I will also be a proud Bushwhacker alum and say, you guys really brought it this year. And us alumni are very proud of the 2024 Bushwhackers for sure. But thank you to DCI for jumping in, saving All-Age, turning DCA into All-Age. And I can't wait to see where it goes from here.
Yes, thank you. Let's go Boosh.
And so my gush and go is going to be short, but it's about the Academy. I was on staff with the Academy this summer. And that was a very let me take it home and think about it kind of type deal before I said yes, because I had stopped teaching in 2019. The Academy reminded me about how much I loved teaching. And I hadn't had that in years. And so I really enjoyed my time there. And I just loved what they did and, how they started and how they ended. It wasn't the same kid. So I like seeing that evolution of performer. So I'm gushing and going about those performers at Academy. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So I just want to thank you all for a great rehearsal. We had a late rehearsal. I got you. But I want to thank you to our hosts, Austin, who has been told to go home because his technology is not working. And also Trish. We want to thank our guest clinicians. So we have Susie, Scott, and Nick. Thank you all so much. Susie, where can we find you on your socials? Oh,
I am the worst at unmuting myself. I'm so sorry. I'm so technologically savvy. The best place is our YouTube channel, which is at the Harloff Hub, Or you can follow the Avon TikTok channel, which is at the Mighty Avon, which I run. And then we have lots of fun marching arts content on that TikTok. So join us.
Awesome. And where can we find you? Can we find you?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I have a weird Instagram. It's 1414 Suze73. Weird. But I'm sure if you search Susie Harloff, there aren't many of me in the world, so you could probably find me.
Fantastic.
Yep.
Nick, tell us about your socials.
All right, so you can find me on the gram. If you search C Can't Stop Cop, so CANTSTOPCOP, you will find my Instagram. If you do happen to be in the southeastern Pennsylvania region this fall, check out Neshaminy High School's marching band. I will be there. I'll probably be the crazy man yelling at the front ensemble.
Awesome. And Scott, where can we find you on social media?
Well, I'm an old guy, so I'm pretty much on Facebook, and I am on Twitter here and there, but I don't really do much on there. I don't know what the heck to even do with it sometimes. So
Perfect. I'm going to friend you tonight.
And smoke signals. I do smoke signals.
Perfect. I'm so good at smoke signals. Okay, great. Oh, just thank you all so much. It was so much fun talking with you. So one more thing, don't forget that we do have a YouTube channel now, and that has many of our interviews coming out as full length videos. Go and subscribe so you don't miss out on those. Oh, also, before you close out of the podcast listening app, go subscribe. Write us a review. Share with a friend. Let us know who your favorite host is. Follow us on social media at On a Water Break. And we'll see you at rehearsal on a water break.
Go practice. The On a Water Break podcast was produced by Jeremy Williams and Christine Reams. The intro and outro music was produced by Josh Lyda. To learn more, visit lydamusic.com. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.